Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good, and how are you?
I'm doing very good.
Yeah.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, it's good today. Hurricane Brian, so yeah, I'm getting over it. So.
You had a what, sorry?
Hurricane Brian.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I'm doing well.
Good. So tell me, this still going to work out for you?
Yeah.
Good.
Good.
Ellie Kisyombe, what a great name. I've heard so much about you. As Anne was saying, the Irish Times has mentioned you much. You've done loads of interviews with them and things like that as well. And I just cannot wait to hear a bit more about your story. So tell me, first and foremost, where are you from originally?
I'm from Malawi. Let me say something. Ellie Kisyombe. You know, I think if I can take off Kisyombe and put like Doyer or O'Connell, when people expect to see like an Irish woman coming like Ellie and then Kisyombe. What's your name? I'm like, I'm Ellie. That's my name.
My last name is Fromholz. And so people do not know what to do with that either. It's all
yeah,
good.
So
all good.
Anyway, I'm from Malawi.
Yes.
I was born and raised in Malawi. I'm coming from a generation of politicians.
Okay.
My parents were very much involved in politics, and it's both my parents. And these are from the ruling and these are from the opposition. So conflict starts within the house. So yeah.
What was that like growing up?
Yeah.
I mean, was it interesting? Did your parents argue much about politics, or politics left out of the home?
No, my mom, she was kind of like a very good, my mom, she was an African woman. So an African woman in those days, there are women who are what do you call it? Submissive.
Okay.
So my mom, she was that. So my mom wouldn't fight my dad because my dad was like,
right.
Yeah. So yeah, we were growing up cool, and my father was a very loving man, you know, despite of like he was like really like yeah, but he was a very good man, and my mom was she was a kind of like she was a mother, right? She was a keeper, and they both looked after us really well till tragically we lost both of them. But anyway, that's part of life.
Sorry to hear that.
So yeah. So yeah, growing up was I mean, I had a very good growing up, a very, very good one that I can remember each memory I've been through.
And so like with your family are involved with politics, is that one of the reasons why you had to leave Malawi?
Exactly. So my father, we believed, which that's real, but in Malawi you don't talk about those things, right? And mainly when you're coming from families like my family. So my father was assassinated. That was the one who died. And that time I was in my early 20s. So it hit me, but not like the way I then lost my uncle. Because now I've started like understanding very much about politics, and I'm understanding what's going on. So after my father died, there were a lot of issues from family politics to the social politics.
Sure, of course.
And then later I lost my uncle, who was, by that time, he was really becoming like a president. He was taking over Malawi. So he was a president of the vice president of the opposition party. So, you know, like after my father died, like he stepped up. And, you know, like at least we didn't feel that much tension from my father's death because he was there and some of them, they were there.
Sure.
So we had like these figures that we rely on. But then also tragically, we lost my uncle in a way that I remember that time, I think I was like 23, 24, but we could tell that my uncle has been killed. So I think that was a turning point of me that I think I went enlarged.
Yeah.
Then I become, you know, I mean, you understand yourself growing up when you've become like so radical. So I become like so radical, and I become like more political in a way that I was so angry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. And so that anger was, you used that in politics in Malawi, and then how did you then come to Ireland? And why did you come to Ireland?
Yeah, so after my uncle died, there were now a time whereby I started getting involved with my fellow students from the one I had in university. I've been a very active child growing up.
Sure.
And I was famous in every group I am because I was a bit of outspoken. I was bullied quite a lot, but I was a bit of outspoken too, and I could stand for myself.
Sure.
So most of my friends...
I can understand that now that I've mentioned.
So most of my friends rely on me, and I've been a problem solver for a while, but I didn't even find myself till like now that I found myself fully, that I've turned from anger into like a positivity and try to do something out of that anger than to be angry and do negative things. That's the only thing. That's the transition.
And the transition then from Malawi to Ireland was in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
why Ireland though?
Yeah. So anyway, at that time, then I was in school. I was in before even I came to Ireland, I went to England and studied, and I went back home. Okay. So at that time, I went again to school in Cape Town. So when I was there, it's when my uncle died, right? And I just spoke to him like a day after. So after that, I went back to Malawi. So I started like organizing like groups of students. Like, no, guys, this is not right. Yeah. And like, if this is the case, we're going to die. Even us young ones, we'll never even have an opportunity of going through this. I've lost my dad, I've lost this, I've lost that, I've lost that. So we had a good, cool group of students that we felt like, okay, we could step up. Unfortunately, that's what now took a deadly turn. A very close friend of mine was shot in front of me. He was killed in front of me. Sorry. So, so at that time...
but just in Karkasha, Ellie, how are you so positive right now? I mean, like, you say you turned that anger into something that was motivating and to change, but you've seen relatives, father, uncle, friend.
I think I've come from pain and being angry and appreciate life as where I am. Because if I was in Malawi, like if I didn't get a chance of run away from Malawi and be here, I don't think I would have been alive. Okay. And you know yourself, even in Ireland, I don't even have papers, but I've never even shut up. So that's the person who I am. So if I was like there, that's worse enough, because Malawi, they don't like people like me, right? So I wouldn't be alive. But then I've come to sit down and look that I lost my dad. I lost my mom she couldn't cope with my daddy's death. I lost my uncle, and I lost a good friend of mine who we had a lot of, he had a lot of future. And we had a lot of plans which we really worked out. And I have life. And I managed to escape Malawi. And if I tell you like step by step what I went through, you can understand me. So all those things made me to realize that there's also another good side of life, although sometimes life can be a bitch. So, you just have, you just have to wake it up. Yeah. So I think that's what has drove me from that anger and then drive to positivity. Although, like loud, it will be me. I won't change that, and I can't change it today.
I'm curious, was there a moment that you made a choice? I'm going to change, I'm going to not be angry, or I'm going to use this motivation and passion towards change? Or has it just been a gradual journey towards our table?
When I left Malawi, I've got 2 kids. I've got twins. I'm a young mom. I had them very, very young. And that's one of those things that, sometimes can even make you grow. And I was the eldest. And the way my father raised me, he raised me like he knew that he would die very young, right? So it was like I carried a lot of responsibility. And if I wasn't going to become the person who I am today, that means it was not going only to be my life. Sometimes you make a decision not based on yourself. Yeah. But you have also to make decisions based on other people. So you look at it like, what's the best? Not for me, but what's the best for everyone? Yeah. Because family comes first. So, I felt like, no, I have to live for my siblings. And worst enough, it's like my mother also, her death killed me. Because I saw my mother dying slowly out of depression after losing my dad. Because she couldn't cope. And I wouldn't even be like her. I didn't want to call her like she was weak. Right. But then I knew what type of a person who she was. And my father tried to make me strong. So that's what he believed. And that's what maybe he sensed. So that's what I should become. And
so you came to Ireland.
Yeah.
You, as an asylum seeker, we won't go into that.
Yes.
But instead of, we had a panel discussion when you were speaking elsewhere this morning, and we had a panel discussion with a group of people talking about direct provision and how sometimes it's trapping. And I knew you were coming today, and you knew you would have stormed the stage and say, "Enough of this!" What is it about direct provision that you find so debilitating for those who are involved with it?
Yeah. So I came to Ireland. I was welcomed. I was so scared that maybe I might be returned. Okay. And that was my fear. But anyway, I was allowed to enter the country. and I was accepted to seek asylum. That's the first stage. And from there, they told me that they're going to take me to the first place, which I'm going to stay. That was the reception center in Charlestown. And I was going to be there for only 2 weeks. And I was in a bad shape of mind at that time after all those tragic things happened to me. And in my head, I was just like thinking like, okay, I'll be just like over maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 1 month, and then I'll get my papers. And then I'll move on with my life. And then I'll bring in my children. I'll bring in my sisters and my brothers. That's what it was in my head. So anyway, arriving there and being taken to Charlestown, and there I stayed for another 4 weeks. I started meeting people who they've been in this system like for maybe 2 years, because that's a reception. So people don't stay there as long as if they have medical condition. So in my head, I was just like, oh, maybe they have medical condition. That's why they're still here for this long 2 years. But then I was taken into a place where I was told that that's going to be my home for till my process is being processed. So I was taken to Balehones. I'm sure you know yourself, Mayo.
Yes, of course.
And yeah, of course, I'm coming from Malawi.
Yes.
But you know,
it's exact same. The weather, everything,
So yeah, like to be taken from Dublin.
It's like being at home.
Yeah, and I've seen London before. So,
yes, of course.
So it was like a worst scenario going in my head.
The worst scenario, yes.
So worse enough, I'm getting into this small town, and then we're passing this small town, and I'm going behind a big gray tombstones, right? And I'm like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
And I'm passing that, like the gravesite, and behind, I'm finding all these old houses, like a hotel in it. And I'm looking in there, like I saw this face, like, faces that you won't even look like, people are so tired, they are so fragile, and that was the first. So anyway, I let it sink in, and I went, and the manager received me and said, okay, we're going to give you a home, and this home of mine, I'm going to get in there with 3 different women. Jesus Christ, and my bed is here, this person's bed is here, like the way the speakers are, so my bed is here, and we have this space, like, with our bags. The first day, I didn't sleep. I stayed at the living room. The second day, I couldn't. And the other woman, she's a Christian faith for born again, so, they wake like 4 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
And,
all
like, yeah. I've got even recordings of that. And this woman, she'll wake 4 a.m. and like she'll start like sometimes she'll start like 12, 1, 2. I was born in a very Christian family, but there were times I was like, can you go and call your God to come and save us? Because I'm fed up. So those kind of the things.
Yes.
So you can imagine, I'm already an angry child who have seen a lot, and I'm coming in this position who I'm finding this, troubling things. How am I going to deal with this? This is impossible.
Yes.
Yeah? So I got depression like for a year, and I was clinically diagnosed, and I was taking about 12 medication. And then every day I'm getting a phone. My sister, she's ringing me. This is what is happening. They've thrown us in the house. And my kids, she's just like moving with kids. Like, we've sort of like, I'm not sure if you've been to Africa.
I have.
But yeah, you've been to Africa.
And I've been to Mayo as well. So.
Yeah, yeah. So, like if men and wives, they've really worked so hard, they can create the good life for their families. So my father did that.
Sure.
So, I've grown up in that environment and, like with the loving families. And overnight, we just lost completely everything. Yeah. And then I've become sort of something that I have also to adapt that life. It was so impossible. It was so difficult that sometimes, like, I always like wake up and say, Dad, I've done it. I've made it. I do that. Yeah. Because I know that from where I'm coming from the transition, not easy. So anyway, back to direct provision. So with that, it started like haunting me. And I was like, no, I wouldn't even let myself to sink into this depression, to sink into this anger, and I'm not even going to fight anymore, but I have to find love. What should I do? I'm somebody who, I love my family. I love people who are close to me. I have to love these people. And most of the people who were there, they were like Somalis, There were Somalis, Eritreans, and those people who have no English at all.
Okay.
They didn't even know what to do. They didn't even know how to even go out and do like English lessons, things like that. So I started like, what can I do here? I've got like a bit of education, and I'm a political student, and I've got like a social studies.
Yes. And
so
you're a little bit passionate.
And a little bit passionate, yeah. So what should I do? So I started like getting information of what's going on in Ireland. I'm telling you, like 2009, 10, there were completely nothing. Yeah. Nothing. Even like those groups who were going like into like hostels, asylum seekers, refugees, they were on their own, So I started reading and nothing was there. The community centers, there is English. I started going there like, can you not allow us to come? Like these people, they can come and just learn a bit of English. Yeah. And I remember there was a sister there. She was Sister Catherine. And then she really liked me. And she was like, I think you are talking. We can start something here, And she really started like English lessons to these Somalians, although it was very difficult for her because she didn't have much resources to use that. Yeah. But before even I knew it, I said into that, I was transferred again. She's trouble. And like that was my first transfer. And then I was taken into another hostel in Tipperary. And at that time, I wasn't even understanding it because people were stopping me like, okay, Ellie.
How many transfers have you had, just out of curiosity?
Maybe 8 to 10. There was even a time where I just took myself out of the system, but then I couldn't even make it too.
Is it most of it because you were agitating
exactly.
it? Okay.
She's a fighter. She likes fighting.
I'm aware of our time, so I want to know more about our table because all this is leading towards a very public, we're going to do something. I'm going to teach these women, empower these women. So when did that come about? Because we have some slides as well you want to show us as well.
Yeah, sure. So anyway, she can just put it on. So anyway, after that, then in 2011, I was moved to a closest center near Dublin. Not that time, not before Dublin. And then when I was moved there, I used to go to Irish Refugee Council. So that time, the CEO was Sue Conlan.
Okay.
So after being in all over the centers, at least I would have picked up few things that I knew that this thing could be more useful to asylum seekers and refugees. So I started telling Sue Conlan, you know what, Sue? You can do A, B, C, D, E. So, she was a CEO. She have to be a CEO. She didn't want to tell me, like, you're right. And she was like, I think you're talking sense. Do you mind if you can come to the office and, take, like, the campaign officer and then highlighting needs to about direct provision? So I was like, I'd love that. So I took that opportunity. So when I took that opportunity, I started doing a lot with my fellow asylum seekers, creating gardens, like asking people, going in the public talks, asking people if they want to do something for refugees.
Great.
I can guide them. Yeah. So I started doing that. And then I started like taking women from direct provision. We were going and do a bit of cooking and things like that because my mother franchised stairs in Africa. So we were in a generation of also like business, food business.
Okay, sure.
So I understood about restaurants and things like that. So not only that, but because when I was in direct provision, you're not allowed to cook and not even make food choices, and you miss food from home, things like that. So I said to Sue, like, you know what? There are even things we can do, but how can we do this? So Sue was like, Ellie, I'm sorry. Funding is, you're not getting funding, and you can just do the way you are trying to do it. So anyway, I'm a Christian and I believe in miracle. And like when your heart is clean and you really want something really bad, God always gives you. And I always believe that my Father also watches me. So in 2015, I met this lady who was a business lady, Michelle Damode. And then she came and approached my boss to say, I've just heard that asylum seekers are not allowed to cook. So I really wanted to help. What can I do? So Sue just said, you know what? You've got a lady in here and, you can meet her up. So she came and we sit down and we meet. And I explained to her and we explained to one another. And we just clicked like this. So we started. So
is that when you started our table?
Yeah.
So can I ask, do you like cooking?
Yeah, I'm a good cook. Since I was young, very good cook. Yeah, I've just been polished anyway. Darina tried to finish the other side. So anyway, I love to cook and, I love to bake. So I started like cooking, I started baking. And I started like doing different things and people started liking the food.
And so is our table like a place, a destination, or do you go out to people, or how does it work?
Okay, so we started like pop-ups. And we were invited like in universities like Maynooth universities, DCU and IMA and Project Arts. And we were all over Ireland. you know, and people just invite us. So we are having this event. Do you want to come and cook for us?
So you,
and I'll bring,
like kind of almost catering.
Yes.
But it was making food
but then,
from your...
but then the idea was to bring in people together, because that's what we did.
Yes.
In our first purpose, we fed almost 800 people. In 2 days, people were like coming, and that's when people come out and hear about direct provision and understand, you know, what direct provision is. And there were doctors, there were lawyers, that they are lawyers, but they didn't even understand how deep this issue is.
Sure.
You know, because people were just like, oh no, these are asylum seekers, they live in a hostel, they have food and things like that.
Yeah.
But people now started getting into deeply, like direct provision. So direct provision started like getting out, and you know, like, yeah, you know, like I believe in food. Food is so powerful.
Yes.
You know, and I've seen a lot with food.
Yes.
You know, and it's not gonna stop now. That much I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm yet to see more. Yeah. You know.
And,
so like
and you're cooking. So you're leading a team of people, of men and women.
Yes.
Are they all refugees or asylum seekers, or is it?
So when we were in Project Art, which we ran for 3 months,
yep.
we employed 7 refugees who they've got their papers, and then we had about 15 asylum seekers who are still in direct provision. As you know, that you're not allowed to work when you're in direct provision.
Okay.
But what we did is to at least try to get them volunteer and get training.
Great.
Yeah. So through and through, starting from 2015, I've trained about 100 and something people. Right.
Wow.
And
I'm going to cut across there.
Yeah.
So 100 men and women.
Yes.
What have you seen change in them as they are able to then again work and engage and?
I've seen a lot of confidence.
Yes.
And I've seen a lot of believing in themselves. Yeah. And I've seen a lot of people coming out and speaking out. Great. I've seen things that 5 years ago, I never saw it. Great. Right? I've seen even in a different spaces, like asylum seekers start their own initiatives. Yeah. And even like wanting to really go out and do something. I've even seen like now, we are running in a space whereby I was looking for a bit of help so I can set up a cafe quickly, which by God willing, I told you God answers, and he's about to answer me. So he's about to. Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's about to answer me, and I'm sure.
Good.
So anyway, I've seen like people, even now, like people writing me like, Eddie, what's happening? Can we please just come, you know, and do something? Yeah. Even if I'm saying, guys, I don't even have like money for transport, no, we'll just come and help.
So people arrive, I mean, the food looks amazing. So, like, are you like, where do you get the ingredients from? Is it people giving you the ingredients, or are people paying for them, or how does it work?
So what we do is, like, let's say this event, you really wanted somebody to do catering.
I would have loved that.
The Christ Church.
That would have been amazing.
So the Christ Church, they did renovation of their kitchen in the crypts.
Yes.
So that they can help us. Sometimes also, Brother Hubbard, they're happy if we need the kitchen to go and help us. So we do a bit of outside catering. I make good food, my dear. You can't walk away from me. Yeah, so that's what we do. So we cater events. That's what we've been doing.
So curiosity, our table then is a catering company.
It's a catering company, yeah.
But you're not allowed.
They need exactly.
But you're not allowed to work for money.
No, you're not allowed. Like I myself, I'm not allowed to work for money because I'm still in direct provision. I'll be 9 years very soon, so I can't get paid. But all these people, like the refugees, we pay them. Okay. And those people, like from direct provision, we at least get a little bit of money and train them. That's how it works. Yeah.
So you use the funding that comes in to continue to train people.
To continue train and pay the people, because kitchen is a hard work. It's only that I love what I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So a couple of quick questions. What's your favorite meal to make? Like, what's one of those meals that you just go, everybody loves this meal?
I've got like.
And when are you going to make it for me? That's the question.
So what I'll make for you is like my mom invented a porridge in late 1999.
I wish we had an oven here, a stove. Exactly. You could just talk and cook.
So my mom invented a porridge in late 99 when HIV was just coming to Malawi. People were dying with malnutrition. And there was no good medication like now. So my mom invented a porridge. So these are some of the new recipe. I'm doing it for myself.
So I'm going to just stop you there. HIV comes to Malawi.
Yes.
Your mom invents a porridge.
Yes. Yeah.
Tell me how those two serve one another.
Exactly. So people were dying with malnutrition.
So okay.
Yeah, because there were no good food and things like that.
It's your
so the porridge my mom invented, it helped people to boost their immune.
Wow.
And even the doctors recommended that.
Wow.
And it's still a going porridge up to now. So I'm trying to invent, because like I know my mom, the way she did, she used like local ingredients and stuff like that.
Yes.
But I'm in a world whereby at least I can be able to get 2 and 2.
So do you do bacon and cabbage? Or do you,
I try. So I've just invented like a cereal, which I'm still like, trying to find a way of it. But that's my mom's porridge. I'm converting it into a cereal, like a cereal bar. Wow. So you can have like a snack out of my mom's inspiration.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I hope it's going to be good.
And tell me, and where are you doing this all out of? Is this in your own home, or is this...
No, these spaces I've told you, like the kitchen in Christchurch,
okay.
yeah. So, I go there and I'm even HSC certified. So, like, that's the kitchen which the HSC certified for me. Yeah. So I go there anytime I want, and it's a stress-free kitchen.
Brilliant.
And, it really works well for me. The lady Abby there, she's so brilliant. And I can walk in and out at any time, sometimes even not giving them a notice. So I'm happy.
What's the big dream for you?
I'm too ambitious, very, very ambitious. The big dream is I want to do something that Ireland denied to give it to me as the policy says, but I want to do something that in a generation of refugees, they'll never treat people like the way they treated me. I am really going to build an empire in Ireland, and I'm going to do that. Yeah.
I believe you. I believe you.
Yeah.
2 more quick questions, a few more actually. Your children, have you seen them since you left?
Yeah, fortunately enough, I'm a fighter. So my kids, the first one, they're twins, a boy and a girl. So the girl joined me, I think, into my 5.5 years.
Okay, so she's with you now.
Yeah, and my son joined me, now he'll be almost 2 years.
Fantastic.
My daughter, she's really done well. She's write her living certificate. She's doing law. She's in Dunboyne. She's even got a placement with Back Council of Ireland. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, you need a lawyer, huh?
I need one. Because mommy, she's trouble.
Fantastic. And tell me, if we wanted to support your work, if people are interested in helping out or any of those kinds, how can we get a hold of you? What's the best way? Actually, let me change that question. Yeah. What would be your biggest need right now in our table?
My biggest need is to set up a cafe. And I'm building up, like, the funds to set up a cafe. Even if I can see a good landlord who said, okay, this is a place, and we just want, like a tip for the place, I'm happy to do that.
Sure.
Even if we can't get a space, I'm even happy to go and rent a space, but we need like some money to do that.
Yeah.
So that's what I need. Support can come in many ways. It's not only give me cash, but support can even come like giving us a lot of more of work, and we build up our money, and then we do that ourselves. I believe in working hard.
And so ourtable.ie, is it?
Yeah, so we have website, www.ourtable.ie, and we have a Gmail, which is ourtabledublin@gmail.com. And we have a Facebook page.
Yeah. And do you do small groups or large groups or any size groups?
We do any size groups. Okay. We do like I myself, I can cook for about 500 people myself, being in a kitchen.
All on your own?
I can do that, yeah. I did that event. There was an event somewhere.
Where have you been all my life?
I'm nuts. I'm Gus.
You're wonderful. You're wonderful. Well, Ellie, you are an absolute inspiration. Absolute inspiration. And it's funny because I hear you and I hear all this courage, and I want you to lend us some of your courage. You're a very inspirational person. No, is there anything else you'd like to add before we finish the interview?
No, I just want to ask people, like, we have a system, direct provision, and it's not like in Lebanon, it's not even like in Mediterranean Sea, it's right here in Ireland. And this system, it's not even good for any purpose. People are dying there. I had a quote in my phone. Can I just have my phone there, please? Yeah, yeah, it's not good for any purpose. It's an inhumane and degrading system, and people are dying in this system. And one thing you have to understand, it's like it's a lose-lose game. Why I'm saying it's a lose-lose game? One day, people like me, I've been 9 years, I'll be 9 years very soon in direct provision. Still more, there's laws which abide the situation of people like me. I might go back to Malawi, but I might stay. But if you can let and allow the government to blend people like me in these institutions, I'm not only going to be the problem for the government, I'm going to be the problem for the community. Because by the time I get my papers, I'll be allowed to go into community. So mental health, there are big issues that is affecting a lot of asylum seekers, crimes, things like that. So if we are full of crimes, if our mental disability is decapitated, how are we going to function in a community? That means the community is going to be a non-functional community, and we are going to have a problem every day. And the government will be at the dead area, and we are the people who are going to live in the community. So put pressure on your TDs, put pressure on Rio Radica. And one thing I have to share with you is Rio Radica is the example of receiving people with gratitude. That's why he is a president today, because his father was received with a gratitude in Ireland. If the Irish government could treat Rio Radica's father like the way we are being treated, I don't think he would have been where he is now. So these are the examples. So I hope that everyone can write, even Liwa himself, the TDs, and push up this system.
Was that, before you read the quote, yeah, was that your announcement to running for president in 2000?
Let me tell you one thing. When I was angry, what I wanted to do is just to get myself set and go to Malawi and run presidency. But then I gave up on that. I've brought my kids, my sister is here, mom and dad are dead. I can go back and put the flowers, and Ireland is home. I've made good friends. I've made a good relationship in Ireland. That I've got families in Ireland that I don't even knock on their doors. I just ring them. I've met people like the Stephen Ray, the Darina Allen, a lot of interesting people that I can call them in a minute and they'll show up on my door. Fantastic. And this is fantastic. So despite I'm being denied to be given status, but I call Ireland home, and I wish to be here and build my empire here as home. That's what I want to do.
Fantastic. Well, yeah. I can read your quote there for us, yeah, please.
So, it is inhuman and morally wasteful to allow this system to continue. The dangers of this is continuing the welfare trap, where integrational welfare becomes the norm. Most people seeking protection in Ireland do not come from a welfare state and do not want even just to be idle. They want to go out and work. And it has also, research has also shown inwards migration always add economic and culture. So it's not only us as refugees, but even economically, the country and the people, they are losing a lot. So thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful Ellie Kisyombe. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful.